Chapter 1. Ghostly Encounters on the Iron Road. The Trans-Siberian Railway is a marvel of human ingenuity and perseverance. Stretching over 9,000 kilometers from Moscow to Vladivostok, it traverses the vast, untamed wilderness of Siberia, connecting the sprawling expanse of Russia in a serpentine embrace. As the train snakes through the night, its rhythmic clatter is the only sound that punctuates the profound silence of the Siberian expanse. Yet beneath the mechanical hum and the steel resolve of the train lies an undercurrent of stories, whispers from the past that refuse to be silenced. This is a journey not just through space, but through time, and sometimes through the very fabric that separates the living from the dead. Historical context. The Trans-Siberian Railway was conceived in the late 19th century, a bold endeavor to link the European part of Russia with its far eastern territories. The construction of this colossal project began in 1891 under the reign of Tsar Alexander III, and it was completed in 1916, amidst the turmoil of World War I. The railway was more than just a means of transportation. It was a symbol of Russian ambition and tenacity. However, the construction came at a great human cost. Thousands of laborers, many of them convicts and political prisoners, toiled in harsh conditions, braving the unforgiving Siberian winters and the perilous landscape. Many perished, their bodies buried in unmarked graves along the tracks. The blood, sweat, and tears of these workers became an indelible part of the railway's history, and some say their spirits linger, haunting the iron road they helped forge. Phantom passengers. One of the most enduring legends of the Trans-Siberian Railway is that of the phantom passengers. These spectral apparitions are said to appear on moonless nights, a ghostly train running parallel to the real one. The legend dates back to the early 1900s when a passenger train, laden with travelers eager to reach their destinations, derailed on a treacherous curve. The accident was catastrophic, and none on board survived. The wreckage was cleared, but the souls of the departed seemed to have found a permanent residence on the tracks. Sasha Ivanov, a seasoned conductor with over 3 decades of experience, recounts his eerie encounter with the phantom passengers. It was a cold, starless night, and the train was making its way through the dense Siberian forest. Sasha was in the control cabin, sipping hot tea to ward off the chill, when he noticed a flickering light in the distance, moving in sync with their train. At first, he dismissed it as a reflection, but as it drew closer, the outline of an old-fashioned locomotive materialized, running silently alongside them. Sasha's breath caught in his throat as he saw ghostly figures peering from the windows, their faces pale and eyes wide with terror. The apparition mirrored their train for several minutes before fading into the night, leaving behind an unsettling silence. The experience left Sasha shaken, and he later learned that several passengers had felt an inexplicable cold and an overwhelming sense of dread at the same time he saw the ghost train. These sightings are not isolated incidents. Over the years, numerous passengers and railway staff have reported glimpses of the spectral train and its ghostly occupants. Some describe hearing faint, disembodied screams and the sound of a train whistle echoing eerily in the distance. These accounts share a common thread: an overwhelming sense of fear and the haunting impression that the past is not as far removed as it seems. The White Lady of Lake Baikal. The Trans-Siberian Railway's route skirts the edge of Lake Baikal, the world's deepest freshwater lake, known for its pristine beauty and ancient mysteries. But amidst its natural splendor lies a darker tale, that of the White Lady of Lake Baikal. According to local legend, the White Lady is the ghost of a young bride who met a tragic end on her wedding day. It is said that she was traveling to meet her betrothed when her carriage plunged into the icy waters of Lake Baikal. Her body was never recovered, and her spirit is believed to haunt the shores and occasionally the trains passing by. One winter night, Elena Petrova, a passenger on the Trans-Siberian Railway, found herself unable to sleep. Drawn to the window by an inexplicable urge, she gazed out at the snow-covered landscape, illuminated by the pale light of the moon. As the train neared Lake Baikal, Elena's eyes widened in shock. There, gliding alongside the train, was the ethereal figure of a woman in a flowing white dress. Her face was pale, almost translucent, and her eyes, filled with an unending sorrow, seemed to look right through Elena. The apparition floated gracefully, her form shimmering in the moonlight, before vanishing into the mist. Alina's heart raced, and she felt an overwhelming sense of melancholy wash over her. When she shared her experience with the conductor, he nodded knowingly and told her the legend of the White Lady. Alina's encounter is just one of many. Passengers traveling along Lake Baikal have reported similar sightings of the spectral bride. Some describe feeling a cold breeze despite the warmth inside the train, and others hear faint, sorrowful cries carried on the wind. These experiences leave an indelible mark on those who witness them, a haunting reminder of the tragic love story that lingers on the shores of Lake Baikal. The Trans-Siberian Railway is a journey like no other, a voyage through vast landscapes and a passage through time. The stories of ghostly encounters along its route are a testament to the railway's rich history and the enduring human spirit. As the train hurtles through the Siberian night, remember that you are traveling not just through space, but through a tapestry of memories, some of which refuse to be forgotten. The ghosts of the past travel with you, their stories etched into the very fabric of the Iron Road, whispering tales of love, loss, and longing. So, as you settle into your seat and the train lulls you with its rhythmic clatter, keep an eye on the window. You never know who or what you might see on the other side. Chapter 2: Spirits of the Cities and Stations. The Trans-Siberian Railway isn't just a journey through the vast, untamed wilderness of Siberia. It's also a passage through the cities and stations that dot its route. Each stop has its own story, its own ghosts, and its own spectral inhabitants. The bustling cities and quiet stations are alive with the echoes of the past, where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, and the ordinary turns extraordinary. As the train weaves its way from one station to the next, the tales of ghostly encounters become an integral part of the traveler's experience, a testament to the enduring spirit of the railway and the land it traverses. Krasnoyarsk's Haunted Station. Krasnoyarsk, a major stop on the Trans-Siberian Railway, is a city with a dark and turbulent history. During the Stalinist purges, thousands of people were sent to the gulags in Siberia, many passing through Krasnoyarsk. The city's railway station, once a place of bustling human activity, has since become a hotspot for paranormal phenomena. The station's history is steeped in tragedy. Many of the prisoners who passed through Krasnoyarsk never returned, their lives cut short by the harsh conditions of the Siberian labor camps. This history has left an indelible mark on the station, turning it into a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Travelers have reported hearing disembodied voices echoing through the halls of the station, whispering in tones of despair and longing. These voices often come from the shadows, as if the spirits of the departed are trying to communicate with the living. Some have even reported seeing shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the station, their forms flickering in and out of existence like images on an old, damaged film reel. One of the most chilling encounters involves the ghostly man in the tattered coat. This specter is believed to be the spirit of a former prisoner who met a tragic end on his way to the camps. Witnesses describe him as a gaunt, hollow-eyed figure, dressed in a ragged coat that flutters as if caught in an unseen breeze. He is often seen standing on the platform, a forlorn expression on his face, as if waiting for a train that will never arrive. Nikolai, a station guard with over 20 years of service, recounts his own eerie experience with the ghostly man. It was a cold winter night, and the station was nearly deserted. Nikolai was making his rounds when he spotted a figure standing at the far end of the platform. At first, he thought it was a lost traveler, but as he approached, the figure turned and looked at him. Nikolai felt a chill run down his spine as he met the man's gaze, empty, haunted eyes that seemed to pierce through him. Before he could say a word, the figure vanished, leaving Nikolai alone on the platform with the unsettling sense that he had just encountered a soul trapped between worlds. His story is not unique. Many others have reported similar sightings, each encounter adding to the station's reputation as a place where the past and present collide. The mysterious musician of Irkutsk. Irkutsk, often referred to as the Paris of Siberia, is a city rich in culture and history. Its cobbled streets and charming architecture tell stories of a bygone era, but among its many tales, one stands out for its eerie beauty, the tale of the mysterious musician. Legend has it that a talented violinist once lived in Irkutsk, a man whose passion for music was matched only by his love for a woman who did not return his affections. Desperate and heartbroken, he threw himself in front of a moving train, his violin clutched in his hands. His tragic end left a haunting legacy that lingers in the city to this day. Passengers on the Trans-Siberian Railway passing through Irkutsk have reported hearing the haunting strains of a violin late at night. The music is described as both beautiful and sorrowful, a ghostly serenade that floats through the train's compartments, stirring emotions and leaving listeners with a deep sense of melancholy. Olga, a frequent traveler on the Trans-Siberian Railway, recalls her own encounter with the mysterious musician. It was a quiet night, and she was in her compartment, trying to read a book. Suddenly, she heard the faint, ethereal sound of a violin playing a hauntingly beautiful melody. Intrigued, she set her book aside and listened, the music growing clearer and more poignant with each passing moment. Unable to resist, Olga got up and walked to the window. As she peered out into the night, she saw the ghostly figure of a man standing by the tracks, his violin poised under his chin. The moonlight illuminated his pale face, and Olga could see the intensity in his eyes as he played. She watched in awe, the music weaving a spell around her, until the train picked up speed and the figure faded into the distance. Olga's experience is just one of many. The ghostly musician has become a well-known figure among those who travel the Trans-Siberian Railway. Some say that hearing his music is a blessing, a reminder of the beauty and tragedy of life. Others find it unsettling, a spectral presence that serves as a constant reminder of the fragility of human emotions. The mysterious musician's story is a poignant one, a tale of unrequited love and a passion that transcends death. His music lingers in the air long after the train has left Irkutsk, a haunting testament to a love that could not be fulfilled in life, but endures in the echoes of his violin. Poltergeist of Novosibirsk. Novosibirsk, the largest city in Siberia, is a bustling hub of activity and a major stop on the Trans-Siberian Railway. Beneath its vibrant exterior, however, lies a darker side, a place where the supernatural intrudes upon the mundane. The railway station in Novosibirsk is said to be haunted by a particularly malevolent spirit, a poltergeist that delights in causing chaos. The stories of the Novosibirsk poltergeist have circulated for decades, with countless travelers and staff recounting their unnerving experiences. The poltergeist is believed to be the spirit of a man who met a violent end in the station during the Soviet era. His anger and frustration have manifested in aggressive hauntings that disrupt the daily operations of the station. One of the most common reports involves the mysterious disappearance and reappearance of luggage. Passengers have often found their bags missing, only to discover them in entirely different locations within the station. These occurrences are usually accompanied by an overwhelming sense of unease, as if an unseen presence is watching and waiting. Tatiana, a ticket agent at the station, has had several encounters with the poltergeist. She recalls one particularly unsettling incident when she was closing up for the night. The station was empty, and she was finishing her paperwork when she heard a loud crash from the waiting area. Startled, she rushed to investigate, only to find chairs and tables overturned, scattered across the floor as if thrown by an invisible force. As she stood there trying to make sense of the chaos, Tatiana felt a sudden, icy draft and the unmistakable sensation of being watched. She turned around, but there was no one there. The feeling of dread grew stronger, and she quickly finished her work and left, her heart pounding in her chest. Tatiana's experiences are mirrored by those of many others who work at the station. Maintenance workers have reported tools and equipment moving on their own, lights flickering on and off without explanation, and strange, disembodied voices echoing through the empty halls. Some have even experienced physical attacks, with invisible hands shoving them or pulling their hair. The poltergeist's activity seems to peak during times of high stress and tension. During periods of heavy passenger traffic, the disturbances become more frequent and intense, as if the spirit feeds off the energy of the living. These aggressive hauntings have made Novosibirsk Station a place of unease, where the staff always feel they are walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next incident will occur. Despite the fear and disruption caused by the poltergeist, the station continues to operate, a testament to the resilience of those who work there. The ghostly presence is a constant reminder of the station's dark history, a lingering shadow that refuses to be banished. The cities and stations along the Trans-Siberian Railway are more than just stops on a journey. They are places where history and the supernatural intersect. Krasnoyarsk, with its haunted station and ghostly prisoners, Irkutsk, with its sorrowful musician, and Novosibirsk, with its malevolent poltergeist, each tell their own unique stories. These tales of spirits and specters add a layer of mystery and intrigue to the railway, turning a simple train ride into a voyage through the haunted landscapes of Siberia. As the train moves from one station to the next, travelers are reminded that the past is never truly gone. It lingers in the shadows, whispers in the wind, and occasionally makes its presence known in ways that defy explanation. The spirits of the cities and stations are a testament to the enduring power of human emotion and the thin veil that separates the living from the dead. They are the echoes of history, haunting reminders of the lives and stories that continue to shape the Trans-Siberian Railway. Chapter 3: Legends and Lore Along the Line. The Trans-Siberian Railway is more than just a marvel of engineering. It is a vessel of stories, a conduit for the legends and lore that have accumulated over the decades. As the train winds its way through the vast expanse of Russia, it traverses regions rich in cultural heritage and folklore. These stories, passed down through generations, blend the line between reality and myth, turning an ordinary journey into an extraordinary experience. In this chapter, we delve into some of the most compelling legends and lore that have become an inseparable part of the Trans-Siberian Railway's legacy. The Phantom Brigands of the Ural Mountains. The Ural Mountains, often considered the natural divide between Europe and Asia, are a place of rugged beauty and ancient mystery. The mountains are steeped in folklore, with countless tales of spirits and supernatural beings said to inhabit the remote and treacherous terrain. One of the most enduring legends is that of the Phantom Brigands. During the early days of the railway's construction, banditry was a common threat. Brigands, taking advantage of the isolated stretches of track, would ambush trains and rob passengers. These brigands were notorious for their ruthlessness, and their reputation became the stuff of legend. As the railway expanded and security measures improved, these attacks dwindled, but the stories of the brigands lived on. It is said that on certain nights, especially when the moon is full, the spirits of these long-dead brigands return to haunt the tracks. Train conductors and passengers alike have reported seeing shadowy figures on horseback, racing alongside the train, their spectral forms flickering in the darkness. These phantom brigands are often described as wearing old-fashioned clothes, their faces obscured by wide-brimmed hats or masks. Igor, a train engineer with a penchant for the supernatural, recalls his own spine-chilling encounter with the Phantom Brigands. It was a crisp autumn night, and the train was making its way through a particularly remote section of the Urals. Igor was in the engine room, his eyes fixed on the track ahead, when he noticed movement out of the corner of his eye. Glancing to the side, he saw a group of ghostly riders keeping pace with the train, their horses' hooves making no sound on the rocky terrain. The riders seemed almost corporeal, their forms shimmering like heat waves. Igor felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead as he realized he was witnessing something beyond the realm of the living. The Phantom Brigands rode in silence, their eyes, dark and hollow, fixed on the train. They kept pace for several minutes before veering off into the night, disappearing as suddenly as they had appeared. Stories like Igor's have become a part of the lore of the Trans-Siberian Railway, passed down from one generation of railway workers to the next. The legend of the Phantom Brigands serves as a reminder of the dangers that once plagued the railway, and of the spirits that still roam the untamed wilderness of the Urals. The Witch of the Taiga. The vast Siberian taiga, with its dense forests and untamed wilderness, is a place of haunting beauty and ancient secrets. It is here, amidst the towering pines and the whispering winds, that the legend of the Witch of the Taiga was born. This tale, a mix of folklore and ghost story, has been told and retold by those who live and work along the railway, each version more chilling than the last. The Witch of the Taiga is said to be the spirit of a woman who lived in the forest centuries ago, practicing ancient and forbidden magic. According to the legend, she was shunned by her village and driven into the wilderness, where she vowed revenge on those who wronged her. She was said to have mastered the dark arts, calling upon the spirits of the forest to do her bidding. One night, a terrible storm swept through the region, and the villagers believed it was the witch's doing. They formed a mob armed with torches and pitchforks and set out to find her. When they finally cornered her, she cursed them with her dying breath, vowing that her spirit would haunt the forest forever. From that day on, strange and terrible things began to happen in the taiga, and the legend of the Witch of the Taiga was born. Passengers traveling through the taiga have reported seeing a ghostly figure moving through the trees, her form barely discernible amidst the shadows. Some describe hearing eerie whispers carried on the wind, voices speaking in an ancient, unknown tongue. The most chilling encounters, however, involve the witch herself appearing before travelers, her eyes burning with an otherworldly fire. Vera, a young woman traveling alone on the Trans-Siberian Railway, experienced one such encounter. She had been unable to sleep and decided to take a walk through the train. As she passed through one of the empty compartments, she saw a figure standing by the window, silhouetted against the moonlit forest. At first, she thought it was another passenger, but as she drew closer, she realized something was terribly wrong. The figure turned to face her, and Vera gasped in horror. The woman's face was gaunt and hollow, her eyes glowing with a malevolent light. She reached out a bony hand, and Vera felt a chill run down her spine as the temperature in the compartment dropped suddenly. Before she could react, the figure vanished, leaving Vera shaken and terrified. She later learned about the legend of the Witch of the Taiga from a fellow passenger, who told her that the witch's spirit was known to appear to those who traveled alone, especially women. Vera's encounter added another layer to the legend, a chilling reminder of the supernatural forces that inhabit the Siberian wilderness. The Ghost Train of Vladivostok. Vladivostok, the eastern terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway, is a city with a rich and turbulent history. Founded in 1860 as a military outpost, it has grown into a bustling port city and a vital link between Russia and the Pacific. Amidst its modernity, Vladivostok holds its own share of ghostly tales, none more famous than that of the Ghost Train. The legend of the Ghost Train dates back to the early 20th century, during the Russian Civil War. Vladivostok was a key strategic location, and control of the city changed hands multiple times. It was during this chaotic period that a train carrying a group of soldiers and civilians disappeared without a trace. According to the story, the train left Vladivostok one foggy night, heading westward, but never reached its destination. Despite extensive searches, no wreckage or bodies were ever found. The mystery of the missing train soon gave rise to rumors and speculation. Some believed it had been hijacked by bandits, while others thought it had derailed and plunged into one of the many ravines along the route. As the years passed, the story of the missing train faded into obscurity, only to resurface in a more supernatural form. Passengers and railway workers began reporting sightings of a ghostly train appearing on the tracks near Vladivostok. The train was described as an old-fashioned steam locomotive, its carriages filled with spectral figures. The ghost train was said to appear out of the fog, its whistle echoing eerily in the night, before vanishing just as suddenly as it had appeared. Anatoly, a retired railway worker, recalls his own unnerving experience with the ghost train. It was a foggy autumn evening, and he was working the night shift at a small station just outside Vladivostok. As he went about his duties, he heard the distant sound of a train whistle. Curious, he stepped outside to see a faint light approaching through the fog. To his astonishment, an old steam locomotive emerged from the mist, its carriages illuminated by an eerie, otherworldly glow. Anatoly watched in awe as the train passed by, its windows filled with ghostly figures staring straight ahead. The air grew cold, and he felt an overwhelming sense of sadness and loss as the train disappeared into the night. Anatoly later learned that others had witnessed the ghost train as well. Some described hearing disembodied voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through empty carriages. Others spoke of feeling an inexplicable chill and a sense of foreboding whenever the train appeared. These sightings have become a part of Vladivostok's lore, a haunting reminder of the city's tumultuous past. The Cursed Tunnel of Khabarovsk. Khabarovsk, located on the banks of the Amur River, is another key stop on the Trans-Siberian Railway. The city is known for its beautiful scenery and rich history, but it is also home to one of the railway's most chilling legends, the Cursed Tunnel. The story of the Cursed Tunnel begins during the construction of the railway in the early 20th century. The tunnel, which cuts through a mountain near Khabarovsk, was notorious for the many accidents and mishaps that occurred during its construction. Workers reported strange noises, unexplained equipment failures, and a general sense of unease. Despite these difficulties, the tunnel was eventually completed, but its dark reputation remained. According to legend, the tunnel is cursed because it was built on sacred ground. It is said that the mountain was once home to a powerful shaman who was buried there along with his followers. The disturbance caused by the construction of the tunnel awakened their spirits, who now haunt the passage, seeking vengeance for the desecration of their resting place. Travelers passing through the tunnel have reported a variety of strange phenomena. Some described feeling an intense pressure, as if the walls were closing in on them. Others speak of hearing disembodied voices whispering in the darkness, or seeing shadowy figures flitting through the gloom. The most disturbing encounters involve sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Alexei, a conductor on the Trans-Siberian Railway, has had several eerie experiences in the cursed tunnel. On one occasion, he was making his way through the train when he noticed a passenger sitting alone in a darkened compartment. The man was dressed in old-fashioned clothes and seemed out of place. As Alexei approached, the man turned to face him, and Alexei was struck by the cold, empty look in his eyes. Before he could say anything, the figure vanished, leaving Alexei feeling unnerved and disoriented. He later learned that other conductors had seen similar apparitions in the tunnel, leading to the belief that the spirits of the shaman and his followers were responsible. The legend of the cursed tunnel has become a part of the railway's folklore, a chilling reminder of the supernatural forces that linger in the shadows. The guardian spirits of Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal, the world's deepest and oldest freshwater lake, is a natural wonder and a source of endless fascination. Located in Siberia, the lake is renowned for its stunning beauty and unique ecosystem. It is also steeped in legend and myth, with stories of guardian spirits that watch over its pristine waters. The indigenous Buryat people, who have lived in the region for centuries, believe that Lake Baikal is inhabited by powerful spirits. These spirits, known as Baikal's guardians, are said to protect the lake and its inhabitants from harm. The most revered of these spirits is Burkhan, a benevolent deity who is believed to dwell on Olkhan Island, the largest island in the lake. According to Buryat folklore, the guardian spirits can take various forms, including animals, birds, and even human-like figures. They are said to appear to those who show respect for the lake and its surroundings, offering guidance and protection. Conversely, those who disrespect the lake or its spirits may incur their wrath, leading to misfortune or tragedy. Sergei, a local fisherman, shares a story of his own encounter with the guardian spirits of Lake Baikal. One summer evening, he was fishing near Olkhan Island when he noticed a strange light hovering over the water. Curious, he rowed closer and saw a figure standing on the shore, bathed in a soft, otherworldly glow. The figure, which resembled an elderly man with a long beard, beckoned to Sergei. As he approached, the man spoke in a language Sergei didn't understand, but the tone was gentle and reassuring. The figure then pointed to a spot in the water, and Sergei, feeling an inexplicable sense of trust, cast his line there. To his astonishment, he caught the largest fish he had ever seen. When he looked back, the figure had disappeared, leaving Sergei with a profound sense of wonder and gratitude. He later learned from the Buryat elders that he had been blessed by one of Baikal's guardians, who had guided him to a bountiful catch. Sergei's story is one of many that highlight the deep connection between the people of the region and the spirits of Lake Baikal. The legends and lore of the Trans-Siberian Railway add a layer of enchantment to the journey, turning a simple train ride into an exploration of the unknown. These stories, whether they be of phantom brigands, witches, ghost trains, cursed tunnels, or guardian spirits, remind us of the rich tapestry of history and culture that the railway traverses. They serve as a testament to the enduring power of folklore and the human imagination, and they ensure that the Trans-Siberian Railway remains not just a means of travel, but a gateway to the extraordinary.